Hello, Mechwarriors, and welcome to the Mechbay, where we fix your mech and fix your game. What's going on, Mechwarriors? I'm your host, Josh, and we are the Mechbay podcast. Have it your way, but don't get crazy. What's going on, co-host Denham?
Howdy, howdy. Not too much here.
That's good. That's good. It's a nice Sunday evening, after a week full of Battletech. And we're just chilling, getting ready to talk about Kerensky's little abominations that could. That's right. We're talking about ProtoMechs.
Yep, one of the last gifts that the Smoke Jag gave to the inner sphere before they went away.
They're ProtoMechs, so that means they're before mech, prototype mech, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
That's what proto means.
Yeah, let's roll with that. Oh, but first, before we dig into that one, let's do some hobby news, hobby progress, and some games played and other. All right, so we had a little bit of news in the last week since we released. We've gotten the 4 mercenary packs come out.
All right, well, we had 3 new mercenary force packs come out this month. We had the Aerodynamic Light Horse, Hansen's Rough Riders, and the Kellhounds, which are one of my favorites.
So which ones did you pick up? Did you pick them all up?
I will pick them all up eventually, but the ones I was able to get my hands on locally were just the Aerodynamic and the Hansen's Rough Riders.
See, that's why I had to go to Fortress Miniatures and Games. And Rob hooked me up. I'm pretty sure I was in that first shipment of they came in the store. He just slapped shipping labels on them and they went right back out. But I got the Kellhounds one to get that Jumping Crusader.
I need to do that because only certain stores are able to get that, and my store doesn't. So I don't want to wait. So I will just go order it. That's exactly what I'll do.
Yeah, I don't think any of our stores have the Kellhounds, but that's just for me running around seeing who has what.
Right.
But Fortress has all of them, and that's great. I will say, correction from the last episode, we talked that it included a second base for the jumping ones. They do not.
Right. Not these, yeah. It like one particular one, the Highlander, the one that comes with the Highlander, will have a smooshed urban mech to put on there that he can stomp on. But that's just the Highlander one, which will be the Northwind Highlanders.
Yeah, the smoke for at least the Crusader just pops off 2 little pegs. It has 2 pegs that fit into the Crusader, and the base itself has 2 pegs for the little piece of rubble and a foothole to go onto.
Right. So the Thunderbolt in the Aerodynamic doesn't have any rubble, but it just has 2 little holes on its feet that you could plug in. And it looks like it is just booking it, like it is running flat out if it's not doing the jumping thing. Yeah, and then the Hatchetman, he's just standing flat when you take him off the smoke. So he's also got 2 little pegs that you put him on. So they don't come with any extra bits. Although you said your Crusader came with a little bit of rubble.
Yeah, my Crusader came with a rubble because he's kind of in 1 foot is higher up. So it kind of gives he's pushing off something.
Yeah. So he's got the rubble, and the Highlander, whose 1 foot is also up, has a crushed urban mech. Yes.
But not an actual 5th
Not
base.
An actual physical base is what it turns out. Yep.
Okay.
I made an assumption.
I mean, we knew the smoke plumes were detachable. We did not know they were detachable from the hex base.
Right. We didn't know how that would work. Now we do.
Okay. So those are all out. We have next month finishing printing and awaiting a delivery date. The new Mercenary Force packs for March. Grey Death Legion, the Snords Irregulars, the Urban Mech Assault Lance. I don't know how we want to describe that.
Yeah, it's just unlike the dozen identical urban mechs. This one has 4 unique variants in each pack.
I feel like we're up to more urban mech variants in plastic than
anything else.
Yeah.
Yep, because that will make 5, and there's no other mech that has 5 different variants in plastic.
But that 4th mercenary box will be a surprise. So we don't actually know what that is yet.
Which may mean that they don't know what's in it. We'll find out.
Boy, I really hope they know what's in there. They're shipping containers coming overseas. Do we have any I really hate to wish list on on this show, but I also, if I had to guess what's coming in a month, one has to be jumping, I'm assuming, maybe?
Right. They'll have one jumping and one new one. So one new mech, at least one reposed mech, and one jumping mech.
So, do we have any thoughts on what's going to be in there?
No, I mean, I would assume it's some sort of obscure mercenary unit. Maybe it's the Oberon's Confederation's, the periphery bandit. Who knows?
I'm going to go with, if it has to be a mercenary, it might be the Big Mac.
Oh, could be.
We don't hear much about them.
Yeah.
I mean, who's the other, like, if I go to master unit list and I go to mercenary, who are the big, like, have their own slots?
The Dismal D's. They could have their own slot.
Eridani, Kellhounds, Wolf's Dragoons, Northwind, McCarran's Armored Cavalry, and Great App. So yeah, it looks like the only one they haven't added in is
McCarran's.
I mean, technically,
it's Cav. All vehicles.
I mean,
that could be what it is. It could be a mercenary force pack of just vehicles. Oh man, you heard it here first, people. I'm calling it.
On the, pulling rumors out of thin air. But yeah. Okay, so if it's a mercenary, my money's on the Big Mac.
Yep. All right.
Which would be cool, because then we'd have some compelling appreciation.
We'd have vehicles.
That's true. We'd have vehicles. Okay. All right, folks. Me and Denham tried. We tried to guess what the mystery pack was, and today, when I was getting ready to release the episode, we found out what the mystery force pack was. And it's the proliferation pack. And that will have essentially the first of Battletech. And by first, I mean the first mechs of each of the main factions. So we have the first Terran Hegemony mech, the Mackie, the first Lyran mech, the Emir, the first Draconis Combine mech, the Gladiator, the first Free Worlds mech, the Icarus II, the first Capellan Confederation mech, the Firebee, and the first Omni mech, the Coyote. And of course, we couldn't leave all of them alone without the first Federated Suns mech, the Battle Axe. So that'll be awesome to see on shelves eventually. That I guess we'll be finishing printing in March as well with the other packs like they originally said, but we do not have a on-the-shelves delivery date for those yet. So hopefully sometime after March and hopefully sometime before the Kickstarter. Something to tie us over until when they can deliver the rest of the Mercenaries goods. So that's more. And for literary news, we have the latest and greatest for the Eridani Light Horse fans of us. By Jason Hansa, we have Innocent and Defenseless. Because I don't know about you, but I love a part Star League, part mercenary story where the Mechwarriors are kings of the battlefield, the hovercraft pilots are hotshot fanboys, and the biggest thing you have to worry about is the successor state for getting its place in the Inner Sphere. So I highly recommend everyone check out Innocent and Defenseless, Part 2 of the Mercenary Tales series, available on ebooks. Mercenary packs. Other Battletech news, the Last Recognition Guide has came out.
That's right, number 32, which means they're going to make two, they're going to split it up into 2 volumes and make physical copies. Those physical copies will not have the record sheets because they would be gigantic. They'd be like the thickness of your standard dictionary.
I mean, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll release the record sheet packs like they do for everything else. But yeah, they're going to be just like the other technical readouts that have all the mechs and info, but no record sheets. Just like all the rest of my shelf right there.
So have you had a chance to look through number 32? Yeah,
I did, and I had a cute little surprise in there that I liked.
Which one?
Well, the redone Viper, which is like a modified Crusader. If you look at it and then you go back and look at the old record sheets, the armor diagram on there had a like a mantis-like head and little spikes and he had the arms and legs look just like this Viper. Like this Viper looks like it is the poster child of the armor diagram back in the day.
Yeah, no, it looked like, I was like, I've seen this before, and I was like, but not as a Crusader.
So I think it's going to be cool, and I look forward to that coming out in plastic.
Yeah. I really liked the Blood Asp, or Star Adder, as we're calling it now.
Yep. I just played against one of those. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But yeah.
So it looks like they've canonized the Mech Assault one for that.
Yes. Yep. That's what it looks like.
Because everyone liked, was it plasma PPCs?
Yeah. That game was fun.
But that looks super dope. Like I'm quite excited to see that as well.
Yep. New stuff. It's all awesome. But yeah, so there's gonna be two the Ill Clan Rec Guides will come out in 2 volumes. So that will happen soon. They've already been working on it. So I'm gonna say this year.
The big news is we have the store sign-up sheet for the Mercenaries Kickstarter launch parties out in the wild now. That's
true. That is true. So if you have a hobby store that you want to run that, go get the link off of the bg.battletech.com and give that to them, because it has to be filled out by a store owner.
Yes. Just because you sell things outside your back door doesn't make you a store.
Right.
But are we a store, Denham? Because we sell information to people for free.
For free? Yeah, I was going to say, wait a minute, what's this we stuff? I need a raise.
Me too, brother.
What's a 400% increase of 0?
Does a podcast actually get paid in exposure? Or is that the product?
The world may never know.
That's enough news. So we've got Mercenary Force Packs done for first wave. We've got new ones coming next month. We have the Last Rec Guide, which just came out. And then we have the Kickstarter store page. So
yep.
That's a nice hobby roundup for 1 week.
Yep. It's not a bad chunk.
All right, let's move on to some hobby progress. Get some what actually is on our tables. Oh, man. Denham, why don't you go first? Because I feel like you might have gotten more done than me this time.
Well, I'm almost done modeling the interior walls and pillars of the Steiner Coliseum for Solaris, because we're going to start doing little Solaris matches in our store. So I want to do the outside walls too, but that's not as important because you can play the game without the outside walls looking cool. I just want the inner workings first. But just about done. If I hadn't had a couple printer failures, probably would have been done by now.
Aw. If I do the 3D printer go burr, like, is that acceptable? Except when it doesn't go burr?
Except when it doesn't. How about you? What have you been up to?
Oh, man.
Purchasing is progress.
Purchasing is progress. I mean, I technically did purchase the Kellhounds pack from Fortress Miniatures, so got that in. Haven't done anything with them yet, but purchasing. I bought more Sylphs because I have a problem, and that problem is buying one thing in 15 of.
Yeah.
I've determined that I pick my faction on Sylph battle armor availability. And I need just enough of the ones on the ground as I do as the ones in the sky, because it can't. I also can't use ones that I've pre-painted for one faction for another faction.
Well, that's true. You can't. I mean, you're just not allowed to. They will kick you out of any tournament if you try that. I agree.
But the big purchase for that order was I got a Viper, which is now the Black Python, which is now the White Raven.
And I took a look at it, and it is definitely better looking than the original Viper that came out with the looks like a squat, super deformed fighter jet on chicken legs. Like, no joke, that's not an exaggeration. That's what it looks like.
Because you have the unseen Viper.
Right.
Do we want to call it the Viper for this or the Black Python? Because
it was never referred to as a Black Python.
Okay, so that's the
then.
post
It was
name.
the Viper, yeah.
Not the Dragonfly.
What of 3 Vipers that we have legally, canonically in the game? At least 3 Vipers.
Yeah.
Because you're right. We have the Dragonfly Viper. We've got the this one, the Black Python Viper, and we've got the Viper.
The Crusader Viper, as I'm calling it.
The Crusader Viper. Okay.
I mean, yes, it's taken. They retooled the factory to make the Viper, and they just put worse tech on it.
And they made it heavier.
Yeah, I don't know why though.
Well, worse tech, I don't know. It's got cool tech. I mean, it's got 2 blazers on the primary one.
Look.
Yes, inefficient.
You don't have to sell me on blazers,
dude. It looks fun. It looks fun. I would definitely play that. Well, one of them has 4 plasma cannons on one arm, and then a mace on the other.
Yes.
And I'm just making like stuff for Solaris right now. I would love to see that in my Solaris match. 100%.
Screams. All I hear is screams.
Because if you slow them down with all the heat you get from the plasmas, and then you walk up and mace them when they can't run away.
What was I going to say? But yeah, so I got the current Iron Wind Metals Viper Black Python. And they have the new Viper Black Python in plastic coming out, but I just needed one now.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's hard to take one in a tournament if you don't have one. It's I'm waiting later. I mean, I guess a lot of places you could just have a piece of paper that says I owe you Viper and still use it legally in a game of BattleTech, but it wouldn't look as pretty.
No. Yeah, so, but for my painting wise, because that's just the bind. For painting, I got my ProtoMechs painted, which is ironic for this episode.
Yes, I saw them. They look nice.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. I look at the Gorgon and I turn it around, and all I can think is like wearing nothing at all.
Yeah, you can put one of those old timey pajamas with the butt flap on it. Just paint one of those on there.
Like I posted this, and the only emoji people put on it was the peach. Because it's all cheeks. It's all cheeks on this.
Did not skip leg day, that one.
Thighs. Oh, yeah, that's terrible. Like, people, no. But yeah, so I got those done. Those got some nice washing. They're great for dry brushing because they're so small.
Yep.
But they're also simple. Like, they are almost palette cleanser. Like, painting battle armor is difficult for me because there's too much. Like, they're too small.
They're so tiny. They're so tiny. Yes. And like if you mess up with the dry brush, if you just happen to have a little bit too much, you have to start all over because it just covers everything.
But these ProtoMechs were like the perfect amount of, okay, I can do these fast and kind of cleanly. Like there's enough space that my brush technique doesn't have to change too much.
Yep.
So they were nice. I enjoyed it.
Cool.
All right. So that's enough hobby progress. Denham, have you gotten any games in lately?
Yeah, well, I always get games in, Josh.
That's true.
Yep. I run games every Tuesday, but yeah, I got some special games in. I mean, we could do this on mine or yours, but I did in fact play you.
You did. How did you like that game?
I was there. It was nice. I didn't get there. Yeah. No, that was a fun one. I took a standard inner sphere lance for that game, like one light, one medium, one heavy, and one assault.
That was a 10K BV game.
It was a 10K, so that meant that I had pretty good pilots. I had a Spider 8XR that had a 2.2 pilot. I had a ShadowHawk 8L which had a 2.4 pilot, a Catapult 2 L7L with a 2.5, and a Marauder 2 4L with a 2.5. The Marauder had stealth armor, I believe.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I did not like that.
Yeah, so that was my standard inner sphere lance with really good pilots to bump the BV up because 10K is hard to get to sometimes. If you're running 4 inner sphere mechs, it's sometimes difficult. If you're running clan mechs, no, you can hit that in like 2 mechs easy.
I mean, I only took 2 mechs
and some other stuff.
Yeah, I took.
What'd you take?
I took a Warcrow Prime, a Warhammer 2C13, 2 elementals, the new ones, the elemental 3s, 1 flamer, 1 pulse, and then a point of ProtoMechs.
Yes. And these ProtoMechs weren't all like I only have rocks. So if I'm putting out ProtoMechs, it's just all rocks. But you didn't do that. You had a nice mix.
Nice selection. I had a Chrysaor, a Gorgon 3, a Rock, another Rock, and a Minotaur. So nothing too fancy.
Rocks are good. I'm glad you had 2 of those. They are the best.
They are the best. But yeah, so how did that game go for you?
Oh, okay. So one of the memorable parts is from across the map with my Marauder 2. I hit your Warhammer 2C in the leg twice with Gauss rifles. I brought you down to 3 internal structure on your leg by like turn 2, maybe 3, and I never hit that leg again with anything ever.
Never.
You ended the game with that leg standing there.
How did that make you feel?
Oh, I mean, awesome when I hit your leg. Frustrated when I never rolled that leg again. Yeah, frustrating. Yep.
Yeah, so that game, I was impressed with my ProtoMechs on some things and not on some others, but we'll talk about that later.
Right. We also played them a little bit wrong, but I don't think it was so wrong that it would have affected anything in the larger sense.
Correct. I enjoyed the Warcrow. I very much enjoyed the Warhammer 2C. Just got definitely outnumbered.
Well, the Warcrow, which is awesome. I mean, I believe I hit it with 3 plasma rifles one turn, and you just got too hot. Like,
yeah,
really,
and then
really
I shut
hot.
down.
Right. My catapult did not last that turn. Like, that was his last dying act, was to hit you with as much plasma as he could. When both of your mechs went down, it was kind of just time for cleanup after that.
Yeah. Yeah, and your Marauder was like perfectly perched, behind a level 1. He had partial cover. He was in heavy
woods. The whole
woods
game, all he got was 5
armor.
points. Yeah, 5 points on his left torso was all the damage he took that entire game.
Ugh. That hurt.
Yeah.
Your other stuff, though, was getting a little scared.
Well, I had already lost my catapult, and then I lost my spider, taking out your. So we overheated your Warcrow, and then eventually center torso critted your Warhammer with the spider the same turn that the spider disappeared. Just there's no trace of it. But I still had the ShadowHawk had been touched a little bit, but not much, and the Marauder 2 was pristine, and all you had was 4 ProtoMechs, and on the quarter of the map your elementals. Yeah,
I'm not a good elemental player. I'm learning that.
Your elementals were chasing down my faster mechs, and they don't have the 7 and 10 jump that my mechs did.
This is why I like Sylphs, isn't it?
Yeah, you gotta have something that can chase things down. They jump 7, right? Sylphs
fly.
Oh yeah. Oh, so they jump.
Now.
They just yes. The answer is yes.
Always jumping, never landing.
Yep.
But that was a good game. I enjoyed playing you.
We learned quite a bit about ProtoMechs in that game.
Yeah, and that was a while ago. That wasn't like last week. That was
that was wild.
But did you get any other games in lately?
Yeah, I've gotten several of the games. I've been using iterations of that lance, mostly 7500 BV versions of it, and I think I've got it. I think I got it pretty well dialed in for my 7500. If I was to do another 10,000, I would have to revisit with some of the lessons I've learned in the other games I played. But I really like it a lot.
That's good.
Yeah, it's well balanced. It's got plenty of cover. Everybody has a job. So, and they're all under 4 gunnery. Which is essential with jumping mechs. It
hurts.
If you're jumping around, you've got to lower that gunnery. You just have to.
What was I going to say? Did you have any highlights from your other games that you want to talk about, or nay?
Yeah. There is a game that I was playing with JT over at Hangar 18, and he had a Blood Asp, not one of the new ones because Rec Guide 32 hadn't quite come out yet, but it was a beast. And in one phase, I did 4 pilot hits on him.
How did you? Did you just reach inside of his cockpit and just like slap?
No cockpit hits with that. I hit a Gauss rifle, which he had case, but that gave him 2 pilot damage. And then I hit the other torso and hit ammo, which he also had case, but that's another 2. So that was 4. And he had to do them all that turn and all in a row. So he had to roll a 3, 5, 7, and 10. And he did it. He didn't even fall down from any of that. I was so mad. That I think it's a 90-ton beast. How about you? Any other games?
Oh, man. I played you. We already talked about that from your perspective. I played Neil. I got to try this was like take mechs that you don't take very often, but also throw in something old reliable. And that was my Warcrow, my brand new Viper, a Ryzen, the like Dark Age one with Einarch, because I wanted to try out Einarchs. And then I took some airy power armor because
that was an interesting version of the Viper you took, though.
That was that was technically the White Raven 2, the Rec Guide one.
Gotcha.
Yeah, this was me trying out Rec Guides essentially with airy power armor.
It was right, but that one
has an XXL.
Has the XXL and it jumps 8.
Yes, because it has improved jump jets.
So that's 16 heat if you jump 8. That is crazy
and
to
it
me.
only has the sinking ability for 20.
Wow.
But it still has, 2 large pulse lasers, 4 ER small lasers, and then 2 medium pulses, and still has a targeting computer.
So you can fire or you can jump.
Yes. Yeah, very much so.
How did he do? I'm curious.
So me trying out the Viper for the first time, this was a buy it and then try it kind of operation, and take the weirdest variant of it that I could find.
There's no point in not buying a Viper, though. The Vipers are such fantastic. They have such cool variants that you will never not find a use for at least one of them.
Yeah. I was like, I'm going to buy 2 of these. I might as well get one metal, one plastic.
Yep.
I liked it. The problem was it definitely was like the ultimate bracket build. Like, you're either jumping, you're either shooting 2 large pulse lasers for -3 with the targeting computer, or you're shooting the medium pulses and the ER smalls and running or jumping a little bit and shedding heat. Because you don't have those. You don't have enough heat to do a little bit of everything at once. You're really just split in between those.
You should totally drop those ER smalls and put in AES and get that -4. That would be amazing.
Look, don't build a bear me my perfect mech. But yeah, that would be awesome.
Jump 7, -4 on large pulses. That would be great.
So the Viper was great. The Viper only died because I tried to push a catapult off level 0 to a depth 2 water next to it.
And
I was like,
why wouldn't you? Like,
why wouldn't, like,
begging?
It's
begging to be pushed in the pool.
And my addiction is pushing mechs off of things. I'm like a cat when I play Battletech. I just want to push it off and see what happens.
That would be amazing.
The problem is I misplayed and was like, oh, I'm going to get here and torso twist and push. No, pushing is only on the front.
Oh, yeah, only the front. Yep.
Only the front. So I was like, oh, we have to take this back. And he had taken 2 hits, and those 2 hits then changed to the rear based on that, because I was like, I'm not going to penalize my opponent, Neil, for that. That was on me. So those hits then transferred to my rear, and then they critted me on the gyro. Oops. And then I fell before the physical combat phase when we rolled everything back. Yeah, so that went bad.
Oops. Yeah.
Yep.
You don't want something that jumps everywhere to get gyros at all.
No.
You just don't.
So then it spent the slow turn of trying to run away and then getting murdered. The Raijin was nice. I put a
I think
haywire
in that situation, you don't try to run. You just stand up or lay down. You just keep firing until you're dead. Like,
yeah.
You're going down. There's no point in even trying to escape.
It was close, but not close enough.
Yep, true enough.
But I will say it did some work on a catapult and Wolverine kind of solo, which I would hope was
nice.
The baby was waited for it. But the Raijin was nice. Got to try haywire pods on that. So everyone loves +1, right?
Yeah, I do.
It didn't come up as much as I would have thought.
Aw.
It was probably because like a low gunnery skilled pilot isn't affected by a +1 as much as a higher.
Yeah.
Like if he gets a +1 to haywire Einarch, he's just going to stand still in woods rather than move to better woods.
Right, and he's equal to yours because you had higher gunneries, correct?
Yeah.
So you just equalized instead of getting the advantage.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, I could see that.
Yeah.
How did the Aerie do?
Aeries always do great. They're what 35 BV. Like if they do one shot, they pay for themselves. They got to shoot 5 times.
Dude, I shoot ammo that's more BV than your than your Aerie.
They have medium laser range for 5 damage total on the squad. So I roll to see it 1 through 5.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, that's amazing. Like people even see like, these are so worthless. I'm not wasting shots on them. I'm like, that's great. Don't.
There's still points. They can win.
I mean, they had stealth armor. We were playing objectives, but I lost them. So
right. Stealth armor, that was the first time I had ever played with stealth armor was our game. And I like it. It's hot, but I like it.
But on the Marauder, you don't really with 2 Gauss rifles. You're not pushing.
Oh no, I found woods behind partial cover, and I just sat there. And the Gauss rifles only do 1 point of heat each. So what? Oh, 2 heat, 12 heat because I fired. Because I got stealth armor. I got 10 doubles. I'm fine.
Oh no.
Yeah.
So that was my game for Neil. And then I played Joe. I took Skargoyle Prime, the Battalion on a Budget special.
Yep.
I took a Warhammer 2C2, and then I took a Stormcrow with 4 medium pulses and LRM 20, and
I like that one.
And the new Elemental 3s. And you know what? That reinforced that I'm a bad Elemental player.
Did they not do well?
They hit no times in that game.
Yeah, I've been there.
Yeah. But Joe was taking an all speedy mech. Like he took the new dragon, the Wreck Guy dragon that runs for 12 with mask, and I'm like, I'm sorry, what?
That's the one that has C3. Now you said that he didn't have a C3 master, right?
Yeah, he was just running them. He was like, "Hey, all my mechs are C3, but I have no master. Is that okay?"
Right.
I was like,
yeah,
but
that's wasted tonnage for you.
Yeah, he wasn't using the C3 ability. He was
right.
just like, you don't care, right? I was like, no, you're penalizing yourself. Problem is, he just paid for the BV upgrade instead of having a master, and like, you know what? That was worth it for him because he put more shots on than my 4 clan pilots because he had a spider, a grasshopper, and Jenner, the new Wreck Guide,
and
not the new Wreck Guides, but
Dragon was the 7K. Anytime I run a C3 Lance, I include that one in there. I really like that Dragon.
That
for
was
my
a
C3
dirty
stuff.
Dragon.
Yeah, it goes 6'9", but it goes 12 with the mask, and it's got the MRMs, which are scary. But it also has the armor to sit there and get in close and let everybody else target whatever you're shooting at.
By the end of the game, I had taken out both of his hips and most of the internals on a leg. So it was prone and could not move legally, could not stand up. And I was like, yeah, you stay there, Dragon. You think about what you did.
So let's see, 6'3". So he ended up being a 1-2 with the hip, with 2 hips broken.
Yeah, I mean, he had a broken lower and a broken upper. So he was...
gross.
He was MP 0.
Yeah.
And my mechs for that one all died by headshots and ammo explosions. So I was like, come on, guys. He did roll the get the head crit and then roll to get the cockpit. And I was like, I accept that more than I do just head. But that was a good game. I enjoyed it.
Cool. What map were you playing on? Do you know the name of that map?
That is the promotional Tundra map.
Okay, because I saw it had a lot of orange in it.
Yeah, so that's on the one side it's the lunar map, and on the other side it's the tundra, like reddish mossy with some snow, but it's not snow.
I think I have that. Oh, that was the promotional paper map.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, because I have it on the as a battle mat, as a neoprene battle mat, and it has the Rivercom's base on the other side.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool. I've seen that paper map that you have before.
I really like it because it's not too complex. Like there's nothing on it except woods, rubble, and level changes. So it's great for like introduction. Great. It's almost like it's a great promotional map. And it looks nice.
It does. It looks very cool.
Okay, so that's all of our games played. Man, we played a lot this time.
We actually did. Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
All right, so do we want to talk about what we're doing at Adepticon now?
We'll both be at Adepticon this year.
Yeah. March 22nd?
22nd to 26th. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I will be there in a Catalyst demo team. Yeah, I've not signed up for any events. I could get in and play some if there were like openings, but I don't think there will be. But it doesn't matter because I will be there doing BattleTech Bootcamp and Grinder basically from open till around 3 p.m. every day.
God, you're booked.
I am. I'm booked.
That's fun. You're doing,
But yeah, if people want to stop by and see the Grinder, I'll be there.
Nice. I will be doing actual BattleTech events. So I'm signed up for, for Thursday? I'm signed up for the BattleTech Championship Circuit Alpha Strike game, which it's a game, all right. What is that? That's 400 point value. and not using the multiple attack roll, which I've
I've
never played Alpha Strike not using multiple attack roll.
I have, and it does speed up the game because a bigger mech can just delete a mech. Like, it either hits and the mech is gone, so you don't have to worry about crits or anything, or you miss and that mech is still alive. Like that's it. It's just very binary. You miss out on a lot of the the crunchy bits. So I think even with 400 point value with all or nothing, yeah, you can finish those games in an hour and a half.
They are using the Alpha Strike force building, so they're actually doing like you have to build a battle lance or a support lance. So
that'll get you all kinds of cool lance abilities.
Mm-hmm. So there's that. And they're also doing attacker and defender lists. So you build one 400 point list, and that's an attacker list, and then one 400 point list that's a defender.
And are each mission labeled attacker and defender?
Yes.
Do you have to take those?
It doesn't say is mandatory.
I think it's implied. So if you want to check, like, that's something you should check before you start and get into a big fight. That is something that needs to be checked before you start playing.
It needs to be written in the packet, sir.
Well, I agree.
That's the BTCC Alpha Strike one. I should note that they're using the same missions for the Alpha Strike event as they were doing for the later in the week Classic event.
Interesting.
Yeah. They also just have one mission written. If it's Alpha Strike, the objective is 8 inches. If it's Classic, it's 4 hexes. So
they should be transferable. Like if you do the hex to inch, it should be. So this will be interesting to see if it is. But they should be.
For Friday, I'm playing in the Wolfnet 350 event. So this is a Civil War Alpha Strike event.
All right.
So that'll be different.
There'll be some, there's some good variants in there.
Yeah. I got my own opinions on Civil War. I think it's a boring era, but
but in here it doesn't matter if it's exciting or boring. It just gives you a constraint. Like that's
no. I meant more like factions aren't as dissimilar. Like that's not when you start to see weird factions uniqueness.
No, it's the cookie cutter ones.
Yeah. All right. What is it? For Friday, I've got the Battletech Championship Circuit Classic event. And okay, so that's Friday. Then we have Saturday? Or my days might be off all over. The fourth day of Adepticon, Blake gave to me. The pre-made list tournament. So that one will actually be like,
oh yeah, it might be Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
This one's the Sunday one.
Oh, in that case, if you're not doing the Classic, I'll be over at the Grinder, so you can come check me out.
Okay. So visit Denham at the Grinder and visit me at the bar.
yeah, that's how that works.
Yeah. So
save me a drink,
or buy him a drink. That's the better one. So the pre-made list tournament, I guess Catalyst will be like pre-making list and providing
this
models.
Is something they've done before. They do this at Gen Con. So the Grinder, the Battletech Bootcamp, and this pre-made list tournament are all things that you can that they've done at Gen Con, at other conventions. The BTCC stuff, though, they have not. So that is one of the reasons why it is as chaotic as it is. This is really the first time they're trying it.
Woo! We got 30 days ish.
Stress levels too high.
Is that like a heat level?
Yeah.
Hit me with that plasma rifle, sir.
All
right, let's take
I
a
don't
quick
have heat
break.
sinks, so that's another 2d6 damage.
Oh, let's take a quick break and refill the coolant tanks.
I have one question for you. Are you ready? Are you ready for this Sunday night when Solaris champion Matt Balcombe defends his title in the Solaris Super Slam? Say goodbye to anyone standing in Matt Balcombe's way. We take some 6 mechs at a steel stadium, shoots and ladder smash in the Solaris Super Slam as Matt Balcombe fights his way to the top in his Battle Master. Right now you can own this awesome pay-per-view holodisc for just $59.99. Call now and receive not 1, but 2 extra holodiscs of Matt Balcombe's rise to the top and highlights in the arena.
All right. It's time to talk about Kerensky's, dream of the perfect warrior.
Was that did Kerensky have anything to do with that?
I mean, without Kerensky, we wouldn't have ProtoMechs running around.
But understand that is a fact. But was it his dream to have ProtoMechs? I don't think he had anything to do with the thinking of or design of ProtoMechs.
I don't know. I mean...
So, okay, do we know the history of the ProtoMech?
All right, so who wants to debate? I'm the abridged drunk history of ProtoMechs, and you're probably the more lore accurate. I was there when they were written. So
I was there when they were written.
Yeah, so let's go with how they were when they were presented and introduced. Let's go with the first hand account.
Okay, so I mean, as a Smoke Jaguar player, lore-wise, Smoke Jaguar was in a tight situation, and they didn't have all the resources that they wanted to have. But what they did have was a lot of failed out aerospace pilots who didn't quite make the cut. And what are they going to do? They're too skinny to go put into the Mechwarrior program, and there's no aerospace fighters for them because they failed out. So the scientists who at this time were like, dude, we're going to lose this unless we do something about it. We can't trust the warriors to keep our butts out of the fire. So they started doing testing with these volunteers, in quotes, from the aerospace program, and they encased them in smaller mini mechs, which they decided to call ProtoMechs, even though they're not prototype mechs. We already have mechs.
Proto was such a hot word back then.
It was
like synergy or like
yeah, it was definitely a hot word. So basically, an aerospace pilot goes into this thing and he curls up kind of like a little ball. He becomes the ProtoMech, but he feels like he's walking around. They use the enhanced imaging type stuff so that they are walking around thinking that they get the god complex from it. They do.
It's the perfect meld between man and machine.
Yeah. But 5 of them is supposed to take up the resources to create as half of a mech. So they sold it to the battle command of Smoke Jags, and they gave it the okay.
The okay.
Okay.
Not in fully enraging the Khan that this has been going on behind his back for years.
What is he going to do? He is on his back foot anyway. He will grumble about it, but he's not going to stop it because, as all things clan, if you try something new and different and you win, you're a forward thinker and a Rystar. But if you lose, then you are an honorless Desgra and you deserve to die anyway. That's how it works.
We'll go to the technical definition. Protomechs are between 2 tons and 9 tons, and there's an asterisk on that 9 tons because there are ultra heavy protomechs, but we won't talk about them. We'll mention them, but we won't count them as because that's a mech, sir. That is a mech, not a protomech. But yes, they are essentially ultralight units that bridge the gap between mech and battle armor, and they're C-bill efficient.
Yeah, they don't cost that much.
If you're fighting with, only battle armor and someone comes up to you and is like, hey kid, you want this protomech?
Yeah. I mean, 5. I take 5 protomechs over one squad of one point of elementals.
Yeah.
But I would not take just one protomech. No.
All right. So we've established that they are a Smoke Jaguar, creation, but who uses them mainly?
They went all over the place because they started with the Smoke Jaguars. They were then adopted by Coyote, Goliath, Scorpion, Hell's Horses, and even the Wolves in Exile used them. But by the Dark Ages, I believe it was just Raven Alliance that still really used them mainly.
Ravens, horses, and the other periphery, weirdos. Essentially, if your faction has ever been desperate for anything, for resources, for land, for recognition, they probably use protomech, and they're not proud of it.
That's why it was Wolves in Exile and not the regular Wolves. Yes.
Wolves not in Exile.
Right.
Wolves with a home. So why should we care about protomechs in 3151 year of our Lord?
They do seem like they need a bit of an Elemental 3 upgrade. They might have a place on the battlefield
because there are relatively still new ones coming out.
There's a lot of like Ilclan Brick Guide tech, the stuff in the Battle Mech manual. You upgrade some protomechs with that, and they can be scary.
Yeah, I think the last one to come out is in technical readout 3145.
Mm-hmm.
So they're still there. They're not gone. I mean, as much as Catalyst might want them to be gone, they're not gone.
Well, then they shouldn't keep putting them in technical readouts.
We should care they exist.
They do exist, so they're an option right now. They're not going to be written out of the game.
They have their own section in Total Warfare just devoted to ProtoMechs.
Don't get me angry about this.
I'm not going to get you angry. But I have to let you know there's like 8 to 10 pages just for ProtoMechs out of a 400-page book.
Right. And it would be awesome if they put all of the information about ProtoMechs in there. Or even just references to where those other things are.
They're okay. References. They're pretty good about that. Sometimes
they did. Come on, we got confused about specific things about how ProtoMechs move, and it was very clearly stated in some other section of the book. I would like that to be referenced in the ProtoMech section, so that I can go find that information while just going to the because if you're playing a game, you don't want to have to look through 3 different books. You just want to be able to look through a book that has a ProtoMech section. It would be nice to go to that section and find all of the answers there. That's all I want.
I'm a better battle tech player because I had to look for ProtoMech rules, which took me to all the other places where all the other battle tech rules are.
But we shouldn't have to do that during a game.
No. But
it takes too much time.
So we're going to digest a lot of ProtoMech rules, and we're going to squeeze it down because we don't have the PhD for ProtoMechs. Someone else does.
But this is a good 101 class.
I'd say 102, maybe.
Probably.
We're still introductory level. No one's getting their bachelor's in ProtoMechs from this class. Okay, so we're going to teach you because they're A, legal, and B, because information is ammunition.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so how do ProtoMechs play? That's the biggest question.
Right. They move like mechs, but they feel like infantry.
In the worst ways of both.
Right.
But so first let's go, and there's 22 different kinds of ProtoMechs with 81 variants. So there's...
Oh, man. I saw that on the list, and I'm like, there's 7 types of ProtoMech, Josh. No, that's just when I stopped counting back in the day.
I mean, a lot of them are not... I don't want to say relevant, but a lot of them do the same job as others.
Right. And a lot of them are just, the Rock 2, the Rock 3, the Rock 4, etc. So there's still rocks, just different variants. Or are you not even counting variants? Are you counting
81 different variants?
Okay. Well, damn.
Yeah. So there's actually a good chunk. Like
there's a lot.
There's a non-insignificant amount of ProtoMechs. And there's also those 4 ultra-heavy ProtoMechs, which, like I said, is technically cheating, but the society has never been known to play fair.
True.
So we covered it a little bit. So ProtoMechs are the worst of the mechs and the worst of the infantry smushed together.
Good thing they're cheap.
The cheapest one is like 40 BV, almost like, I don't know, an Airy Power Armor Squad, which I love, up to like roughly the 500 range for your normal standard ProtoMechs.
That's 500 per, not 500 per 5.
Correct. Per ProtoMech, single ProtoMech. Now, they need to be taken in groups of 5 legally, because they are like a battle armor squad.
Right. But they don't have to be the same type.
And that's key, because how many times have you wanted to mix your elemental with, I don't know, a Corona or a Grenadier?
Yeah, you just get that one salamander mixed in there with the rest of them.
And he tanks all the heat that gets shot at the squad. Isn't this like some other war game where that used to happen / still happens?
Yeah. Yeah. No, that would be kind of cool. So the mixing matching abilities of the ProtoMech, it's pretty nifty.
Yeah.
Not something that I'd ever do. Yeah, the way that my brain thinks about ProtoMechs, I need them to all be identical just for my brain, because I'm like, all 5 of these do this, period.
I mean, it definitely helps, but they all go on one sheet. So ProtoMechs are literally designed to all fit all 5 of their record sheets sections on one page.
Right, which is key.
Yeah, so 5 of them take up the same space as a mech, paper-wise.
Yep. Now, I mean, I wouldn't do them that way, but I love options, and you know that. So I am super happy that there is the option to mix and match.
It's better for your collection, I'll put it that way. So we talked on assembling them. So playing them, biggest difference that you will have to kind of overcome is they move and fire as if they were a single unit for actions and declarations, which means if you move one, you have to finish moving all of the ProtoMechs that are in that point.
Yep. All the rest, the other 4.
And that's also for weapon declarations. They count as essentially a single unit, or I just think of them as another mech.
Right. So you can't initiative sync them like one at a time. You have to do all of them at the same time.
Elementals are for initiative syncing.
Yeah, they're not bad for it. They aren't.
No. So just looking at that, are they more mech or more like battle armor? Just from like that, how they operate.
From how they operate, they're definitely mini mechs for sure. In that case, it just feels like you've got 5 tiny mechs running around, and that's how they move, because they all move individually. You just have to move them all at the same time. But it's not like an elemental squad where they all have to stay within a certain distance. They can go anywhere on the map apart from each other. They just all have to move.
Are these like the mini cons from Transformers?
Yes.
Yeah, so I like them for that. Like, they're not the most difficult thing that you can like spam the board with. Like they have an internally balancing, like they all have to operate as one unit because they're a squad and the squad has to activate all at once. It
definitely, going against them, it feels like horde mode for most other games, because then you're just like, they're everywhere. They're one unit, but they're everywhere. They're surrounding us, unless they're Minotaurs, in which case, maybe 5 turns later they might surround us.
Look,
maybe.
They're trying.
They are. They're trying. They got big guns.
They got 2 big guns. Yeah, so let's talk about, let's start with movement, because movement, we learned the most about movement because that was probably the most different.
Yeah, because they aren't treated, they're treated like mechs and vehicles at the same
infantry.
time. And infantry. Right. They move all at the same time, we know that. But they move just like a mech, so you have to go, unlike infantry, which have you don't pay for hex changes and they have no front. These definitely have a front, and they move, and they have to do the movement penalties just like a mech.
That made me very mad.
And when they jump, do they take the gunnery hit?
They jump like a mech.
Okay.
So they take the worst part of the mech, and that made me sad because most of these have like one gun, one primary weapon, and like one secondary. So the movement really kind of screwed them over, in my opinion.
Right. Now, I mean, like vehicles, though, you can fit 2 of them to a hex, so at least you can double them up if you want to. Watch out for those bombing runs. And
what? I like keeping all of my eggs in, one hex basket.
Yep. Like if they're like vehicles, yeah, they are. They're level 1 high. They are. And like vehicles, unlike infantry, you can enter a hex with a mech that has a protomech in it, but you can't enter it and leave it in the same turn. So it stops your movement.
Thank you, stacking rules, for having that section there.
Right. That's one of those things that was in the movement / stacking section of Total Warfare, but it was not referenced at all in the protomech section. So it was very easy to overlook.
And that's what we played wrong, that we treated them like mechs where they could not enter a hex.
Right, you couldn't enter hex at all that has a protomech.
Yeah.
And that is incorrect. You could have a total of 4 protomechs and 1 mech in 1 hex, because you can have 2 friendlies, 2 enemies, and 1 mech of either side in the same hex. You can have 5 units legally in a hex.
There's some aerospace jockey just like drooling somewhere.
I know. What, who doesn't care about friendly fire? Yeah.
I'm racking up kill counts, and I don't care who from. Okay, so that's movement. So like I said, they all move at once. They can be 2 to a hex. They stop an enemy's mech's movement if they try to move into that hex. They're a little weird.
Right.
Combat-wise, let's talk about their combat abilities.
Okay, so they all have to fire at the same time, but they do not have to fire at the same target, which is nice because they can be all over the map, like we said. It does make it difficult because if you've got 5 protomechs, even 5, like when I run 5 rocks at the same time, even though you've got the same weapon and they've all got the same gunnery skill, you do have to make sure that, based on positioning, where each of them are standing if they're all firing at the same target, because you might have different target numbers for each of them, which if you're just trying to rush, you might screw that up.
Yeah.
So you have to look at them all individually when firing.
So this is the hard part. They have the firing arc of a battle mech.
Yes.
So they have to like still torso twist. Now the cool thing is if they have a main gun, we didn't talk about that. Let's start with that. So some ProtoMechs have a weapon technically called a main gun, the MG, not a machine gun, unless it is a machine gun. I don't think it's not normally a machine gun as the main gun actually. But that would be something like a medium laser.
Right.
And the main gun, if they fire it, they can't shoot arm weapons, which are like normally like machine guns or SRMs or LRMs, little things.
So arm weapons can be pointed into the rear arc, but main guns cannot, right?
Main guns can be rotated into the rear arc.
So they got like little turrets, or you just rotate your torso?
They
enough?
rotate the torso, and then just like your mech gets one arm, your ProtoMech gets the main gun.
That's good. I like that.
I mean, like I said, hopefully if they have a main gun, they can do that. An example of that would be like the Rock, which has a Clan ER medium laser only, and as its main gun. So it has 360 firing capabilities.
Right. 360 firing, though it still has an arc, even though it can fire 360. And if it gets shot, it's always on the front table. Is that what I remember?
So there is no rear or side tables for ProtoMechs, which is actually really nice because we don't need that much.
Yeah, that'd be so confusing.
Okay, so they have their own hit table. They don't have a rear arc, so anything you shoot at the rear just hits them on the front. I guess they turn around to take that shot, to tank it.
Or it's so small, it's just considered the torso armor, whether it's front or rear.
I like that. That's abstracted in a good way.
Yeah.
That rear shot doesn't matter on this, but 30, 38 armor.
But they are tiny, Josh. Like, they're smaller than mechs.
I know, but not like...
So, but they're small enough that they can dodge shots? How does that work?
So if your opponent's really unlucky and rolls a 3 or an 11 on their hit table, it's a near miss. Doing my air quotes when I say near miss. And if it's a weapon shot, it does no damage. If it's a physical attack and you get a near miss, it counts as a hit for like you resolving your PSRs, but does no damage to them.
Okay, so you can kick and you won't fall over, but they won't take any damage.
Correct.
But you're saying I can hit you, and when I roll the location, it says, "Oh, never mind, you actually missed."
You do no damage. That's a better way to put it.
Okay. Yeah, that's not a bad feels at all.
For purposes of PSRs, like, oh, I missed my, kick and I Charlie Brown myself. No, you landed. The ProtoMech just like dodge, and it does no damage. Yep. Yeah. Now, when they do get hit, though, they are very different than anything we've seen before. So
that is true. This was a little complicated the first time that I shot your little ProtoMechs.
I had to look up like 3 erratas, and nothing helped. But then we arrived at just reading it and digesting it in our sleep. That each time they take internal damage, so there's the like light hexes or the light bubbles and the dark bubbles, and the light is armor, dark is structure. Each time they take internal structure damage, they take a crit roll like normal. So like on a 12 it's blown off, on 10th or 11 it's 2, and 8 or 9
it's 1.
Yeah, they take that like normal and they bubble in whichever box. Like if you roll 2 crits, you bubble in 2 boxes. That's how it works, because they have their own special. They don't have internal like gyros or hip actuators. They have like first crit -1 walk MP if you hit the legs. Second one, half walk MP.
Right, you can blow the legs off, but they're not considered prone ever. They just aren't. No PSRs, not prone. Cheaters. But what happens when they take a crit? Like, there's something special that happens when they take crits.
The pilot gets hit.
Right, because, like we said before, they are plugged into this machine, and they feel that the way the book describes it is if their arm gets blown off, to them, it feels like their actual physical arm got blown off, and therefore they have to make a panic/consciousness check to see if their brains freak out and they go into shock.
I mean, my brain freaks out most of the time that my car gets hit.
But you weren't trained from birth to fly Clan Aerospace fighters either.
I mean, I don't think Clan Aerospace fighters are like plugging in, feeling their wings.
No, but they got big brains.
What is this?
Oversized
Macross
heads.
Plus?
Yeah. Oh man, that was such a good anime. Goldman, piloting that mental VF-21.
I'm sorry, I did it. I bird walked you. It's my fault. But yeah, so receiving damage, quite different.
Hold on. Before somebody complains, I know that Goldman piloted the YF-21 because it was the experimental version and not in production yet. So you guys can just back off.
Why do I know all the experimental items?
Yeah.
It's a curse. But yeah, so that means your ProtoMech could technically take 5 crits, and then the pilot's just,
Yeah, just brain dead.
Did we ever have that happen?
No, we didn't even come close with the crits. Yeah, it was either you took enough damage that your weapons were gone, or your center torso finally gave it up, and your guy was out of action, like that Minotaur, or they just didn't have legs and couldn't move.
Yeah,
but they weren't prone.
They don't have right torsos. They just have right arm, left arm, and torso, legs and head. Now, some of them do have main gun, but that transfers directly to the torso. So it's kind of like, if you get hit, you're pretty much tanking 4 or 5 damage, maybe 6 if you're lucky, and then
they can take an amazing amount of damage though. Like it feels like that. Not Gauss rifle level, but it's a lot of damage. And if I am correct, if you hit an arm with a Gauss rifle, that doesn't transfer. That arm is just gone, right?
I mean, damage transfers.
Oh, does it? Okay, so they do have a damage transfer table.
It just says that all damage transfers to
the center torso.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, never mind. I'll take all that back. Yeah, Gauss rifle would be evil if you can hit him.
If you can hit him, that's the hard part. Damage transfers normally when a location is destroyed. Damage from all locations transfer to the torso, including damage from the head. Okay.
That's right, because the pilot's not in the head, it's in the torso, so you can lose the head and still be combat effective. Yeah,
if you lose the head, all that happens is it's +1 to hit and then +2 to hit. And then no long range shots. That's it. That is nothing in the grand scheme of BattleTech. That just says stand still.
These are the true Black Knights.
Yeah.
They've had worse, no matter what.
So that's shooting combat. Now they do also have their weird physical combat.
Oh, well, yeah, that's a weird thing because they have to be in your hex. Like it has to be range 0. And even then, it's just like called a flail. You just try different things. You're bashing things with whatever you've got. There are no punches or kicks. It's just a full body flail.
No, sir. It's better than flail. It's frenzy, which is the combination of kicks, punches, and any other physical combat translated into one roll. And so we previously talked that they don't have a piloting skill.
Correct. Only a gunnery.
Yeah. So for this, they're treated as having a base PSR of 4 and then treating it like a kick. That's pretty good. That means on most things you're hitting on it, what, a 2?
Well, I mean, if the opponent didn't move and is not in woods, yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, still, that's really easy.
Yeah, that's not bad. Yeah, but you don't do much damage. Like if it's treated as a kick, at most you'll do 2. Most of the time you'll do 1. And it's to a leg.
Yeah. Yeah, so if your weight is below 5 tons, you do 1 damage.
They're also so light that the enemy mech never has to make a piloting roll from that attack.
Why'd you have to remind me?
Now, their PSR for that defaults to 4, but if you're making a list with these, battle value is calculated as if they have a 5 for piloting. So you can make the gunnery whatever you want, but the piloting has to be a 5.
PS Megamech and Master Unilist do not.
Yeah, that is correct.
They don't account for that, so that's something you have to know.
Yes, because both of those, you can set it to whatever you want, and it will change the BV. But according to the book, they are considered as 5 for battle value calculation purposes. So don't game the system, people. Be honest.
Let's say a mech were to punch or kick them. The problem is they're level 1, so you can't punch them. So really, most of the time, you're looking at a kick.
Yeah, kicks hurt.
Kicks hurt. You say that, and yet you have kicked mine and left it on 1 structure damage.
Well, I have. Yeah, it still hurt. Doesn't always kill, but it hurts. It hurts. I wanted them to be shifted like football style, punting a football like 1 hex back, but they're apparently big enough that that doesn't happen.
Does he just kind of brace it? he knows it's coming, just holds on.
Yeah,
like
very
Superman
anime style.
stopping the train.
Yeah, that.
So we've gone over movement, we've gone over stacking, we've gone over combat, we've gone over physical. They're really different.
They are. They're unique, which makes them confusing, which makes people not want to take them.
Now, we're going to briefly touch on what makes them unique construction-wise. So they don't utilize XL engines, so there's not really any more weight savings. Can't use Indosteel, ferrofibrous, can't use targeting computers. Their weapons don't even really use heat. Their technology is supposed to be so advanced they don't need to sync the weapons or the engine or movement because they don't track heat.
Right. They don't use mask. However,
they do have the ProtoMech Myomo booster, which
yes,
is their own essentially mask thing.
It's like mini mask.
Mini mask. I would thought if we miniaturize it, it would work differently. No, it's pretty much the same thing.
Yeah, they still don't want to crit those legs.
They can't eject. The pilots are stuck in there. They can't dump ammunition. They actually are more affected by extreme temperatures, kind of like infantry. All right, so that's essentially what makes them unique. How would we break down the different types of protomechs? So I kind of showed you my collection of protomechs against your regular mechs. And I used, I want to say 3 different types.
You did, yes. Because there's light, medium or trooper, and heavy.
Yeah, that's
the beefier ones.
We're just putting them into general boxes just for description wise.
Right. The one that I like is the Rock, and it's 5 tons, or is it 7?
7.
The Rock is well balanced, so I would definitely put that in the medium category. So that's like the vanilla in my mind. It's got mobility, it's got armor, and it's got a decent sized weapon. So the lighter ones have less armor or less weapons, but go a lot faster, and the heavier ones have a bigger weapon and more armor, but go much, much slower.
Yeah.
So there's 3 totally different play styles from those 3 categories. Mm-hmm. Very different play styles.
Yeah, my Minotaur moves walk 3, run 5, and jump 3. So it is an assault protomech.
Yes, but it's got some weapons. Like, what did it have to fire?
It has 2 clan ER medium lasers.
Yeah, that's 14 points of damage from one little protomech.
And they're clan lasers, so it's 5, 10, 15 for range.
He was a scary one. You park him in heavy woods.
And he technically still has 36 points of armor and 20 points of structure that you have to get through.
It is so much. It is so much.
But yeah, so that's a heavy one. The Rock being kind of like the quintessential trooper medium, rated one. And then you have the lights, which are like the Crysaur, the Harpies, the Satyrs. And those guys are like Locust. Like literally, like speed-wise, armor-wise, relative-wise, I should say. And normally they might have like a machine gun or a small laser.
Right, something that could do some damage, but not a whole lot. Almost scarier for infantry than it is for mechs.
I mean, most of those will murder infantry. One of them has like 3 AP Gauss rifles.
Jeez, yeah. Goodbye, infantry.
So let's talk about some tactics. So we actually have put these on the table a bunch to make sure that these tactics work correctly.
Right. So there are definitely different things. Like I said, the Minotaurs, you want to park those in heavy woods. You can put 2 of them per hex, so you can really double up on that. And you just shoot at things from long range because they're busy focusing on mechs. So they're kind of a hold this position and you just forget about them. The troopers, what I would use them most for, because like I said, I take 5 of each type. So I would have either 5 Minotaur or 5 Rock. I do have 5 Rock when I use them. I like to swarm enemies. I like to jump around them so that I always have at least one in their rear, no matter what. Like they can't get away from that. And then that's 5 clan medium lasers. That's not a bad amount of damage. It's up to 35 points of damage per turn just from the protomechs. And they're pretty fast. They jump, so they're harder to hit as well.
Now, would you say that's worth it for almost 1700 BV?
It could be. It very, very well could be.
But it's a hard choice. That's an inner sphere heavy mech.
I would have to build my lance around it, supporting these guys. I do think that 5 Rocks could be the equivalent to an inner sphere heavy mech most days of the week. Not Saturday or Sunday, but the other 5 days, definitely they're a match for an inner sphere heavy. I would say yes.
I want to agree. I want to say that as tech level increases, they get kind of out. They don't keep up as well as the other things.
Oh, they don't have cool upgrades?
I mean, they do get cool upgrades. It's just not being able to take like reflective armor to take less energy damage. Like they don't get they don't get stealth armor like battle armor does.
They should definitely get stealth armor. That would be the dream. How about lights? Lights are the ones I've used the least amount. I can see some pretty cool ways to use them though, but as like more in a disposable type of way.
I mean, they definitely let's get real. When you have for 56 battle value, you can have 18 points total of armor and structure and a machine gun. Like you are going very fast into rear lines and just messing things up. And your opponent really just has to decide, is it worth it for me to even worry about that?
Well, think about it like this. So the enemy has a medium or light that's very fast that they can get into the rear of your assault or heavy mechs. So you have these light, fast ProtoMechs near those, and when the enemy comes up, especially if you lose initiative, but hopefully early on in the initiative, you can move first and surround that light mech. Once he's surrounded by all of these ProtoMechs, he can enter a hex with one, and then he has to stop. So this light fast mech has a TMM of 0, and then you could just take your assault one and it, with no TMM, just unload on it and delete it. It's a good. Now the mech has jump jets. Too bad. You picked the wrong ProtoMechs.
That's on you, not on the ProtoMech.
Yeah.
They tried their best.
No jump jets, and you can stop a mech in its tracks. Now they can kick the ProtoMech that's in their hex and destroy it
easily.
So
probably.
like I said, disposable. But hopefully your assault mech will have taken out that mech before physical attack phase, so maybe they will survive another round. That is one possible tactic that I have discovered by playing with ProtoMechs.
The rush, just literally rush the opponent.
Yeah, the block him in, make it so that he can't move, and then dispose of him.
I like the fact that because they're one level tall, that you can normally hide them much easier. So they're great for scouting. Like, oh, how many woods have you seen that are like, oh, this is a perfect woods, but it's behind like a level 1 with an open fire lane. It's like, okay. Just put a ProtoMech in there, and if your opponent walks past, the ProtoMech doesn't have to move, so it's getting no attacker modifier, and it can just either torso twist or it's the perfect turret. I'm not investing too much BV for it.
They're small enough that all those maps with a couple sinkholes on them that you can't take partial cover of because anybody on a level 1 or level 0 is higher than that. They will be covered in the sinkhole, so they can jump in the sinkhole for mid map cover. And then jump back out for that surprise attack.
I'm so proud of them in their little proto holes.
You got to think outside of the box if you're going to use them effectively.
Yeah, they really. I don't want to say they could handle anything toe to toe.
No, I say they work really well, like elementals, like infantry. They work well in support of other units. One thing we did not play a whole lot of was objective based missions with them. I wonder how they would handle a variety of different objectives.
I mean, it depends on if the mission allows the ProtoMech to like interact with the objective, like a mech, or like they count them as infantry. Like most games that I've seen don't count ProtoMechs as even being thought of in the design process. Like they will exclude infantry and vehicles and VTOLs or something like that, but they will like let mechs. I'm like, okay, but you don't explicitly say ProtoMech, so I don't know.
Right. That's a tough one because they are mechs. It's in the name, but also they're treated like vehicles so much that if you're getting rid of vehicles, you can assume on one hand that it's also ProtoMechs.
Yeah.
But again, you don't know unless they're explicitly labeled.
But I would assume that some of them are really fast, and because they're harder to hit, that they'd be great for objective games.
Yeah.
Now, the better thing is, imagine playing an objective game in a city, in an urban environment.
Oh, yeah. I do know something about that.
Did you know ProtoMechs do not take skid checks on pavement?
They don't have a piloting skill, so they don't take PSRs. So, yeah, anything that would cause them to do a PSR, they can ignore.
Do you know what happens when a mech skids into a ProtoMech?
No, what happens?
The ProtoMech just stands to the side and lets whatever's skidding past them and then moves back to where it was.
Nice. So they are immune. They do a shoulder roll out of the way and then a shoulder roll back and yell, "Ninja!"
I'm just like, just like raise his hands like, nope, not touching that. As the locust on its back is careens screaming.
Oh, does that vertical jump straight up as it passes under him?
Yes. It goes to level 1.1 and then drops back down. But yeah, being able to use your full movement profile or jump in an urban terrain, insane.
Yeah. Yeah, you could really surround a mech that way. You can make him have a bad day. How about going through buildings? Do they have any special rules for that?
They do. So infantry moves through a building using, it's 1 MP to get into a hex. Mechanized is 2 MP to get into a hex. What are mechs? Like, tell me what mechs are.
Mechs, again, it depends on the construction factor as to how many movement points they have to spend going into it. So that the heavier the building, the slower they go through there.
Okay.
But ProtoMechs don't. It's just 1 extra no matter what, right?
Yeah, so it's 1 extra, so they have to use 2 MP to get into a building hex, and they do 1 damage, just 1 to the building. That's it. They're
it's every door frame they walk through, they just flex on it.
Pretty much.
Crack that door frame every time.
I couldn't find where they take damage. They, as far as I can tell, they do not. They just do 1 damage to the building.
Yeah, I don't see why they would.
And I think that's insane if you're doing like an urban campaign or like an urban game. Like if you know your environment ahead of time, that really changes the value of the ProtoMech.
Oh yeah, and if they're in a building, the building takes most of the damage that's meant for them until the building collapses. So yeah, I bet in an urban situation they would rock
with no K.
Yeah.
Now back for some more other combat. I really like the idea of indirect spotting using them, because if you're, using a 56 BV ProtoMech that can generate 8 MP from walking, and it can spot for LRMs, and you don't have any like infantry or elementals that can, ride and get that close, that's great.
Yeah. Yeah. And they can take a hit. So, and you've got 5 of them.
Yeah. Like that's the better one, to just have a dedicated spotting point and then a dedicated LRM point. If you could actually mix that and have the same squad, be spotting for the rest of the squad.
True. Yeah. So out of the 10 ProtoMechs, you could have 1 spotter and 9 LRMs.
Oh God, I hate it already, and I'm the one saying it. We haven't really talked about many, but the Gorgon has an LRM 10.
Okay. But he can't use special ammunition, right?
They can use special ammunition.
Oh, wow. Nice.
So a Gorgon can fire smoke LRM 10 rounds or whatever other flavors you want.
Eye swarms.
We're not talking about the society ones. I told you we're not.
That's true. You did.
But yeah, so they can get cool. Fragmentation, incendiary.
Can different ones take different ammo? So you can have like 1 Gorgon with regular, 1 with smoke, 1 with thunder. Can you like split them apart like that?
Yes.
Nice.
Unlike elementals, specify the loadout. Yeah, individual loadouts for each one. Yeah, so you have 12 of LRM ammo on a Gorgon, a standard Gorgon.
Yeah.
For 325 BV. That moves 4.6. I mean, I want to say BV wise, that's one of the most efficient LRM 10 delivery systems.
Yeah, especially with the if you've got two points, I really think the 1 spotter and 9 indirect fire guys would be cool.
While one part of the squad, is firing, the other part of the squad's moving up.
Yep.
You're always in position for a roll.
It's super cool. It'd be awesome.
Yeah. Do you have any other thoughts on how to use ProtoMechs effectively? Besides like the move blocking, the bum rushing, the scouting, the spotting. They don't really brawl.
They don't. I would not brawl with them. That is correct. I mean, I know this is only a 102 level class, so we're not going into the super detailed stuff, but brawling is out at this level.
Unless you're brawling with like an inner sphere light, like a slow light or bad medium, maybe.
Or if they were vehicle hunting, I think they would make great vehicle hunters. Because any damage you do that can does motive damage, especially if you have. Wait, do they use heat mounted weapons? Are there any hot ProtoMechs.
There are no like plasma mechs, or I don't want to say flamer either.
Flamer. Okay. Well, then forget all that. But I think they'd be good at taking out vehicles, and especially the ones with the AP Gauss, taking out other squads of infantry, just messing those things up, going from building to building. When you've got those SRM infantry in the building, just send a protomech in there and just wipe them out.
Okay. So are we ready to talk about anti-protomech tactics? If your one opponent has been somehow been blessed by the smoke jaguars.
That's right, because as far as protomechs go, I don't think I would ever take them in a tournament. I would definitely use them occasionally in a pickup game for fun, and I would 100% use them in role playing games as enemy forces that are easier than mechs to take out. Kind of like the goblins of the of the BattleTech RPG.
I mean, that kind of works really well, actually, because they are easier to kill, quote unquote. They don't do a lot of damage. They're a single roll, but they still
have so many variants, so you can really spice it up. So I think that's where I have and will use them most is RPG campaigns.
Do you want the highly mobile goblins? Do you want the long range with bows goblins? Like
you want the bugbears or the kobolds or the standard goblins, or you got choices.
So how do you kill these goblins of the BattleTech universe then? What tactics did we find on how to kill them?
Okay, so my tactics when I was playing against you were to 100% ignore the protomechs until I took out your mechs. Now the Minotaur was annoying, and I did shoot him with a Gauss rifle or two, and that did take him out. But I don't believe I kicked any protomechs that were in front of me, but it was always like I had shot at another target and then just physically attacked that turn because it was there.
Yeah.
But I do think it's because you had so many different types. Like you had 5 protomechs and 4 of them were different. So it was like literally having five independent mini mechs out there instead of 5 mini mechs working as a team to overwhelm a single opponent or something like that.
Yeah, they were all kind of on their own like fire missions.
They were too diverse.
Yeah, I actually noticed in most of my games, my opponents would just ignore them and just shoot the mechs. And I'm like, okay, but I got kills. I think I killed out of my 3 games 3 things with protomechs.
Yeah, I'm not saying that they don't do damage, because they do. They just weren't doing as much damage as any of the mechs that you had taken.
Yeah.
So, I needed to focus on them, and then with whatever was left to clean up the protomechs. But yeah, there are a couple things that work really well against protomechs. Anything large caliber, they're not infantry, so they take the full damage, and since it all transfers to the center, you're going to take that torso out eventually if you hit it enough times. But one of my favorite weapons, the plasma rifle, does special types, because plasma rifle does 10 points of damage and then 1d6 heat to a battle mech or anything that has heat sinks. But going up against a protomech or a vehicle or infantry, anything that cannot handle external heat, it takes the 10 damage from the plasma rifle and then 2d6 more damage. You add it all together and split it up into groups of 5.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And then a plasma cannon is even worse. It does like 3d6 damage to anything.
Microwave the person inside.
Yeah, it gets pretty bad.
Infernos have a special rule. Like, how many Infernos does it take to kill a battle armor trooper? 3?
3.
Yeah. So you take yours.
For every 3, you subtract a battle armor guy. Yep.
Yeah. For Infernos for protomechs, it's a little bit less. Like, they do the same thing, but for every 3 Infernos that hit a protomech, you roll 1 location, and that location is destroyed.
Right. So it could be an arm, or it could be the torso.
Yeah. You can actually roll that 3 or 11 near miss, and if you roll that, it near misses.
Yep. Well, dodge that flame.
I still feel like I need to mention I have not had that near miss happen yet.
Yeah, because that's the second arm and the second right and left arm on a battle mech sheet, because it's 3 and 4 for the right arm and 10 and 11 for the left arm.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just that other arm slot.
I mean, technically, just medium pulse lasers.
Any
answer
pulse
for
lasers
everything.
at all. But
Because
medium pulse lasers especially would just destroy, like close range, destroy them. And then physical attacks, a medium mech does 10 to 12 points of damage on a kick, not 9 to 11, something like that. It does some damage. A good kick will send them flying, cave them in.
I mean, it won't send them flying technically, but
no, it does in my brain though. In my brain, it sends them flying, but in reality, it just caves them in.
Yeah, like the Minotaur is one of the most heavily armored ones, and it only has 5 total health in each arm, and then 10 in the legs. So you don't need much. Like, you're going to destroy a location with your one good hit, but it's not going down easily.
You hit the legs and it just turns him into a turret, and he can still fire the next turn just fine. Yeah. So yep, that's all my basic anti-ProtoMech defenses.
Just kill them. They're somewhere in between mech and infantry.
Right. So you have to pay more attention to them than infantry, because they are fast enough to keep up with you. But to me, they always take a secondary target to a mech with a lot of weapons.
So would you say that the ProtoMechs should go in first or second before the mechs? Should they try to soften up, or should they try to exploit the softened up holes?
I think they should definitely exploit. Yeah. You should send them there to do the exploiting. Or unless like we said, unless they're the fast ones that are just there to stop a fast mech from moving, surround them, and then you send them in first to stop it. Then you move in your assault mechs to take advantage of that.
That's just so dirty, though.
I know, but I love that idea. I really want to try that idea.
All right. Do we want to talk about a ProtoMech list, or like at least just try?
We can. Like my list. Like I said, my list will either be 5 rocks, 5 Minotaur, or 5 something fast that I don't know about yet.
Like the Harpy or the Chrysaor.
Right, the Harpy is a good one, actually. I do know that one. But whatever it is, I would take my points in groups of 5 and just use them as a tightly knit unit that's working together.
Oh, that's
They've
good.
all got the same target in general. They try to get the surround on it, or they try to keep something from moving into a strategic position unless it has jump jets.
I mean, it's still good.
They are definitely expendable on my list. I am sending them in there to die. Period. Like, that is their job is not to make it back. Their job is to make exploitable events happen that my other mechs can take advantage of. That's what they're supposed to do.
I mean, they're good at that job.
I think that's what they are designed for.
Not, fighting off entire invasion fleets coming to destroy your clan.
No, I think they're pretty bad at that.
I would probably take the split list of like 2 of the fast ones, and I think the Gorgon is probably my most effective favorite one with the LRM-10.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, 12 rounds of LRM-10, that's 120 damage if you can hit every time.
A split one with that 2-3 split, I think, is acceptable, especially if you have a plan. Mm-hmm. But what you were doing earlier with 4 different ones in your group of 5, I think that was just
too much.
Yeah, just too much cherry picking, too much like they would be slightly useful in this specific situation, but not nearly as useful in all the other situations.
Yeah, because this way they can help support the rest of the, star or whatever forces you're taking them with. But also on this one, they can kind of act as their own mech.
So speaking of that, are they clan only? Are there no way for Inner Sphere to get a hold of ProtoMechs?
There's no Inner Sphere combination for ProtoMechs. The closest thing we have is the what are they called? Celestials.
Well, yeah, the Celestials, but those are definitely mechs.
Yeah, but they were like, no, we're not doing this. We're just going to do it in mech form.
Those are scary to me. The Celestials, the Mani Domini are just. My whole experience with them is of course through the RPG, and they are one of those mid to high level bosses that the players really have to prep to fight. So yeah, Mani Domini scare me.
These are goblins, and those are beholders.
Yeah, they're the adult green dragon.
Yeah, but that's the thing. A bunch of goblins, because a legal star would be 25 ProtoMechs.
Yeah, I think that could do some damage.
Yeah. And you would have one scouting one?
slow your game so much.
Yeah, you have one for scouting, one for brawling, one for disposable move blocking, and one for indirect fire. And you know what? You're going to win the game because your opponent's just going to get up and leave and be like, I'm not having fun anymore, man. Call me when you
ruined my fun.
Yeah, call me when you get over this.
My guys withdraw from the field.
So I think that's ProtoMechs. Anything else we want to add to that?
No, I do want to play them more, but I want to play them with people who have never encountered them to get their opinion. Like once we get some really good tactics, just throw them at random players on a Tuesday night game, just to see how they
ignore them,
how they deal with it.
They ignore them. That's the
problem. But I want to see with more specialized points of the ProtoMechs.
Take elementals to spot and just a 5-man indirect fire, because there are actually a bunch of indirect fire ones. Or you play the low Bachalon on a budget and they bring infantry and cheap vehicles, and you bring your elementals and ProtoMechs.
Yeah. No, I think some play testing is in order to get a few of these down. So before our 200 level classes on this, we need some homework.
But after this, you're going to buy some more ProtoMechs, or at least use the ones you have?
I'm definitely going to paint up the ones I have so that I can feel better about using them. And to begin with, I may substitute them to say, I know this is a Rock Mini, but today we're playing with these ProtoMechs just to see what the tactics are. And then if I think they're viable enough, I will start buying the ProtoMechs of the ones that I like, the groups that I like.
Yeah. Promise you need 5 of each one you like, and that
I understand that. Yeah, you know me. I'm okay with that.
The price point is somewhere in between battle armor and mech,
but it's not super heavy Poseidon prices.
Goodness no. All right, class is over. You want to send us home?
Sure, man. Sure. You can contact us at the Mechbay podcast at gmail.com. Check us out on Facebook and Discord, and a special thank you to all the Patreons. And remember, even if you paint your ProtoMechs 5 different colors, they still won't combine to form Voltron. Probably.